your reaction to the supernatural funk that you.
Well, Brandon Graham, he sounds like a 17-year-old freshman in college who played at a small rural high school and had never met a reporter before. Like, for a 36-year-old, 15-year veteran to say this is unbelievable. Like, I know the reporters that were interviewing him were sitting there like,
I think that's his radio
That's
show,
his
though.
own
He's
radio.
just doing his thing.
Yeah.
I know, but for him to do this is, how do you do that?
And he is the leader of that. Like, he came back to try to get a ring. He's one of the only guys who won a championship with him that's on the roster. He's wildly respected. They were all crying when he took, because remember he tore his tricep a few weeks ago.
I mean, I know those reporters were sitting there like, oh my God, can you believe he's saying this? We hit the jackpot. Like, they have. I mean, they've been all over the place. But it's terrible for him to come out and say that. I do believe, though, Sirianni came out. And Sirianni said that he sees, because
he sees them have lunch together.
Yeah, he sees them eating lunch together every single day. He sees them praying together before games, talking about AJ and Hurts. I got to be honest, and I'm not saying Sirianni has this great track record of believability, but I tend to believe what he said because it's so easy for players to be like, eating lunch together every day. They hardly ever eat lunch together. Or I've never seen them praying together. Like, that's so easy to uncover those lies, and I think that would hurt him in the locker room. So I tend to believe that, and I think Graham just, like he said, I don't know the whole story. Then he said, I assumed something that wasn't the case. I'm thinking he really didn't know what he was talking about, and he ran with it.
I see this like Brandon Graham.
You think he just exposed everything?
Yeah.
I don't see it as being exposed. He just said the exact truth. I think that those guys could pray together. I think those guys could eat together.
And not be friends?
And I think number 1 is absolutely trying. And I think number 11 can respond way better to criticism and way better to disappointment than he is. Like and could do things better than he's doing it and worry about his own house a little bit more as opposed to Jalen's house. All those things could be true simultaneously, and I don't think Brandon was looking at this as like, I'm exposing something. He's looking as like, one dude's working really hard, the other dude's frustrated because he's not getting the ball enough, but he's got stuff he could fix too.
But don't you think to me, the worst thing he said was they used to be friends and things have changed. I don't see them eating lunch together every day. I don't think they're friends.
Brew, I don't know the Eagles' cafeteria setup. It might be that the quarterbacks and wide receivers all sit at the same table. I don't know if it's one-on-one. I don't know if it's a big group. But I'm telling you right now, if we had a rough show and in the post-game press conference, which we actually do because we're idiots, you were asked what can improve, and you were like, the mountain, the tears, and you're like, I'd be pissed. Like, it is not speculation that A.J. Brown, after a victory, was asked, what do we need to improve on? And his answer, paraphrasing, was the stuff Jalen's supposed to do. He didn't say the passing game. He didn't say the offense. He said passing.
But then Kevin had come out and said, there's some things that Brew can work on as well. And Nick is really trying.
Yeah, and they used to be friends.
No.
Like I said, they used to get along. That's the thing to me.
This is, to me, the story. This is one of the most unnecessary, out of nowhere, small disasters we've seen from a team in recent memory. The Philadelphia Eagles are on the second longest winning streak in the league. They are undefeated when A.J. Brown plays. He is having a good year. He's 5th in the league in yards per game. Now, his overall stats are down because he missed 3 games, but 5th in the league in yards per game. And their entire public media presence should be 2-pronged, maybe 3-pronged, but one should be everyone that you guys doubted is proving you wrong. Said our defense was terrible last year. Just think about everything I said about them in the offseason. It was all wrong. You said our defense couldn't do it. How are they doing now? You said our coach couldn't do it. How's he doing now? That should be one prong. And the other prong should be we have the MVP of the league on our team. His name's Saquon Barkley. He's going to break the rushing record. That's all they should do. We're 11-2. We're awesome. Our defense kicks ass. We're the best running back in football. Instead, the best player on their offense, other than Saquon, maybe including, starts a fire, and then Brandon Graham unintentionally, but obviously, pours kerosene on it.
So if I
Yeah. I 100% agree with everything Nick is saying. And that's what I've said a lot on this topic already, and I'm in a rush. I got to get this video out quickly. You see I'm all dressed up. I got to go to traffic court. So, we'll see how that goes. I'll either be really happy in an hour or really angry for the, Mahomes Mountain. But, so I'm going to have to rip through this one. I got to leave in 5 minutes. Real talk. Yeah, listen, I think everything that Brandon Graham said was accurate. Okay, I don't think he was confused or that. I think he knew it. He just said the quiet part out loud. And I don't think Brandon Graham should have said that. That was a huge mistake on Brandon Graham. And it was what are you doing? You should know better because you are a leader. You are a grown man. You have been there for a million years. You got to be better, honestly. But I've also ripped A.J. Brown because it's just what is A.J. Brown doing in this moment? I think they obviously are not as close or as tight as they were together, A.J. and Jalen Hurts. Now, there's been a lot of pushback from fans and comments in the comment section saying, A.J. didn't call anyone out. He didn't call Jalen Hurts out. And he did. When you give the answer that you give, that is what you're doing. What do we need to work on? Passing. He is calling out Jalen Hurts publicly. And then when they say, how hard is it to get in a rhythm when they're only throwing the ball 20 times or so? And he goes, extremely. And it's now you're trying to put pressure on Kellen Moore as well. You're putting pressure on the pieces of this offense. And it's just not right. It's not what you do as a leader of the team. When you've been balling, when you've been winning, and he's had a huge impact on this offense, A.J. Brown. Yes, he's not catching all the touchdowns and getting, 150, 200 yards a game. I understand that, and that's what he wants. But that's not always conducive to winning football. Someone in the comment section said, A.J. Brown is a top receiver. He should never only have 6 targets or 4 targets, whatever it is. Then I went back and looked at Tyreek Hill's best years with Patrick Mahomes, the Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, and he has plenty of games where he's getting 6 targets, 4 targets, in AFC championship games, in divisional round games, in playoff games, that it's happening. Sometimes that's just the way the game plan unfolds. The job of the coordinator, of the coach, of the quarterback is to not make your diva wide receiver happy, especially when you're winning. And if you're unhappy, be a man and talk about it when there's no cameras around. You're old enough now. You're a father. You're a man. Go talk to Kellen Moore and Hurts or Sirianni later. Say, hey, man, I know we're winning. I'm not trying to be selfish, but I just don't feel like I'm being included enough. I really find this frustrating right now. And you know what? There was a couple times that I was really open, and I think Jalen missed me. We got to look at this on film. Why is this happening? Have those conversations. You don't sulk and be a baby after you just won the game, after you essentially are locking up to win the division. You're a game behind for having the best record in the NFL. You're so close to locking up the 1 seed. At worst, you're going to be the 2 seed. Causing all of this drama is absurd. And who cares what the media is saying? It's drama within the locker room. That's what it is. It's drama in the locker room within the team. And now you're going to try to push Kellen Moore and Jalen Hurts to try to get you the ball more, which can then kind of derail the offense to a degree. And that's why I'm fascinated to see which direction they take and how they go and how they approach it. And it's absurd because you know what? Tyreek Hill now has had better seasons with the Miami Dolphins, without a doubt. I think his best year was with the Miami Dolphins and Tua. Is he winning playoff games? Is he getting to Super Bowls? Has he sniffed another ring? No. No, he has not. We got to move on from this whole me, diva wide receiver. On the back of his helmet, he says, choose love. The bro chose violence as soon as he said what he said in that locker room after that post game. People are, again, the defense of him saying, oh, he's just speaking his mind. Okay, sure. That's an absurd take. Hey, nothing he said was wrong. That's not the point. It's not the point. You're a grown man, a leader of the team. You got a C on your chest for captain. Be a man. Be a captain. Handle your business privately. Do you fight with your girlfriend or wife in public? At a party? Out to dinner? At a family function? Or do you man up and say, all right, we'll talk about this when we're home? Do you fight in front of the kids? Do you scream and yell and say, oh, you're so dumb in front of the children? Or do you say, all right, we'll talk about this when we put them to bed? That's what men do. That's what maturity is all about. The defense of this is absurd, honestly. I've seen more people defending it than calling it out. And that's bonkers to me. That makes 0 sense to me. 0 sense. Anyone who's played a sport that was actually competitive, where there was actually stakes involved, knows how detrimental this nonsense can be. I'm not saying it's ruining this team. Nick called it a disaster. I'm not calling it a disaster. Not at all. It's not a headache. It's a migraine. It's not a brain tumor. It's a migraine. So it's obnoxious. It's annoying. And depending on what actions follow, we will see what it really comes about. But sulking and crying like a little baby post-game? No. People say, oh, now you're questioning his manhood. Show me then. Show me, because that's what Brandon Graham said. Brandon Graham said, we got to talk about this like men. So if you don't like what I'm saying, well, then listen to what Brandon Graham says. I think he has a little bit more experience of being a leader and a captain in a locker room, of being a man on a football field in the NFL. More than me and more than you. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. I got to go. I really do got to go. I got court. I should have left a minute ago. Let me know in the comments below all your thoughts. I read every single comment, whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. Please do give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. I'll see you guys in an hour.